I have to apologize for Jerome. He's been so involved with work lately. Probably didn't even get my message.
I'm sure he'll be able to join us next time, honey. Oh, look, there's Barrett Weston, the director. I'll introduce you to him before we leave. He's loaded. An easy touch for a donation to your museum.
It's been so nice being introduced to all of your friends.
Oh, my pleasure. When Vinny's traveling, I love coming home and visiting with family and old friends and new ones. You know, being a congressman's wife in D.C., it really is a full-time job. Look, there's Deborah Bladley, the photographer. Oh, are you all right, dear?
I'm fine. It's just that I just wish Jerome could be here to get to know you better. He's been so involved with this new client, and here I go again.
Oh, again? Oh, you poor dear. Here, you must be going through a really bad patch.
I'm sorry. This is so unusual for me. I'm usually the cheeriest person around.
Well, you know you can always talk to me. I am famous for my advice. Just ask your mother.
That's kind of you. I suppose it would be therapeutic to talk to somebody. I don't really have many friends, and Jerome and I never get invited to my parents' party. They just never really approved of him. It's been a source of conflict ever since our Paris days. And Jerome is such a loner. He has a hard time finding people he can relate to. And these past few weeks, with him so busy, so distracted, he comes home with a pile of notebooks and pours over those all night long, barely acknowledging I'm there.
I'm sure that he must be tired, and his work is quite stressful sometimes.
But it's more than that. The night we met you at the dinner party, I thought something wonderful was going to happen. I saw us becoming a part of this wonderful society life and meeting wonderful people and the new house. I did tell you about the new house, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
It's all I can think about. Decorating, entertaining, things I've dreamed about doing for years. But Jerome, he doesn't even seem to care at all. It's like he'd be betraying his ideals, whatever those might be. It just seems like our relationship is changing. I feel the sands are shifting. Oh dear, I fear we're drifting apart. My heart is breaking, my spirits are unsifting. Oh dear, it's clear we're drifting apart. Once I we were
So sorry. Subway was a complete mess today, and getting a cab was absolutely impossible. I ended up running the last few blocks.
Well, I simply can't tolerate being bored, so I took the liberty of browsing your bookshelves. And I came upon this. Very interesting.
First of all, I don't appreciate you going through my things. There are some extremely confidential papers in this office.
Oh, you are so right, Doctor. One should never look through someone else's private papers.
Point taken. This happens to be the manuscript of a novel I began writing years ago. First draft, very rough, incomplete.
It's a very intriguing world you've created there. Plot is trite and the character is one-dimensional, but your fictional society seems well thought out.
Perhaps after I've reworked it, I'll let you read it.
Oh, I've already read it. Speed reading. Been able to do it since I was a child.
Really?
Yes. The other children considered me a freak because I could finish my schoolwork so fast. And they hated me because I never helped them.
And your parents, did they encourage your talents?
Doctor, I hope you don't think that any of your psychological ploys have succeeded in opening me up. But that story of yours makes me think that we may be kindred spirits on some level. No one has ever taken me seriously except as a scientist. But you now strike me as someone who may be open to some of the rather unorthodox things that have happened to me.
Really?
Yes, I'm intrigued by the world you've created. Very detailed and with a consistent logic behind it.
I dreamed of being a fantasy writer ever since grade school. I was sort of an outcast. Picked on, bullies, the usual story for a skinny, bookish kid. As an escape, I immersed myself in the John Carter of Mars books. Edgar Rice Burroughs. I loved the idea of a whole series of books that explored an entire imaginary world in detail. All the strange societies and customs. And I always held on to the idea of trying to do the same thing one day with my own words, with my own imagination.
Yes, I understand exactly.
You know, at bedtime I'd play out these little dramas in my head, sort of like an ongoing serial.
And I do the same, all hours of the day or night. Half the time, I didn't even know exactly where I was. But it didn't matter.
How old were you?
I was around 6 when I first realized that I didn't belong here at all. Strange names and places would just pop into my head, and I got in the habit of writing them down. Before too long, I started dreaming of this faraway world every night. I grew up frail and frightened, a little thing so timid and weak. I kept all to myself, no, I never had a friend, but I knew in the end the world would be inherited by those who are me.
So these notebooks, these maps, this is the world you imagined as a child.
Imagining has nothing to do with it.
But it was in your head, though. Haven't you shared this with anyone? Discuss it with friends or people at work?
I told you, I don't have any friends. Anyway, no one could possibly be interested in them. They're just the ravings of an insane person, remember?